Jonathan, old chap, how are you tonight? I've seen little of you of late.
I was conducting research in my room, away from the nightly routines.
Of course, of course. Worry not, I understand. The situation has been testy around here. I won't deny it, but we still stand.
What news do you bring?
The news is not good, my friend. We try to keep the epidemic at bay, but street violence is escalating quickly.
Tell me more about the violence.
Jeffrey McCallum seems to have sent his war dogs on a hunt. On a nightly basis, Pre-Wen patrols exterminate every skull and vampire they find.
Have they come closer to the hospital?
No. They mainly focus on fallen districts or abandoned buildings. But they're growing in numbers. They must be recruiting heavily.
How bad is the epidemic?
It is killing the infected patients faster. In less than 2 days now. The only blessing is that they are contagious for a shorter period.
I have received an alarming letter from Lady Ashbury. She wants me to meet her at her house. I have been granted safe passage.
Then you are twice fortunate. I have never been invited to the lady's mansion. And with the quarantine and controls, city access is nigh impossible.
Why have you never entered the lady's house? You are one of her good friends, are you not?
My dear Jonathan, you have no idea how reclusive the good lady normally is, nor in what great esteem she must hold you to let you into her domain.
Is the quarantine serving any purpose?
It is helping slow the propagation of the epidemic. But as long as we have no clue to its origin, its efficiency is limited.
Have you any reliable friends in the West End who might assist me?
Unfortunately, you will be alone. Except for our ravishing red-headed acquaintance, of course.
What about the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole? Where are they?
There are only a few of us, and most others would not speak to you. I am the black sheep of our brotherly flock, you know.
What of my commission here at Pembroke Hospital?
Nothing to fear, Jonathan. Your position here is in no jeopardy. You remain one of us, and you are always most welcome.
Thank you, Edgar. We shall speak again later.
life running in your veins. This dead flesh needs it.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave. Disgust on every street corner.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. And I thought last summer's epidemic was difficult. Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
I will be fine, as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Callaghan fellow.
Hey, Doc.
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of sickness and decay. How could I get better in such a dump?
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating all of my patients equally. But don't push your luck.
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have good reasons to act this way. And also weaknesses that can be exploited.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadigan fellow.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
You have the right to disapprove of our methods, and you will kindly apologize when you're feeling better.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me, I will not let you down, my boy.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances, and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
You have my support, Dr. Strickland. I know exactly what it feels like to battle an unknown disease with only your mind and force of will to help you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You don't know what that means to me.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Good evening, sir.
I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
I'm so tired.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
I'm so tired. Will this shift never...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy. You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me...
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you, then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me. Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No. I don't feel well, actually.
I will see you later. Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with
I
me.
will not let you down, my boy. My sweet girl. Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything.